Welcome to Into the Legit Darkness. I'm your host, Reeni, and I don't know where Brett is because, well, Brett's there. He is. There's Brett. Brett actually is going to permanently be my co-host from now.
Yay!
Yay! I think we work really well together, but let's try to get into this because we have to cover everything in an hour. And Brett is having internet issues, so don't freak out. So then you're probably stuck with me.
Yeah, just let me freak out.
The wind here is really bad. So, I mean, it is what it is. I mean, because we're both in Illinois. We're just not in the same town. He lives about maybe an hour from me. That's whatever. So today we're going to talk about the happy face killer. And I know Brett has been wanting to do this so desperately. And I know that I was on Wednesday nights and I have a lot of things going on. Brett's got a lot of things going on. So it just made it easier just to do it on Sunday nights or Sunday afternoons, whatever. Anyways, this was an interesting case because when you first started out, it was just about a truck driver who went on to kill like 8 people, right?
Yes, except he started off trying to be a Canadian Mountie.
Well,
so then he couldn't get in, so he became a truck driver, and he had a wife and 2 kids.
Well, also before that, though, let's kind of get back into like the little bit of the background because we all know that like serial killers, they have a tendency to start killing animals.
And this guy did too.
You know what I mean? He
had a classic kittens. Father and grandfather that beat him.
Right, but he also said that he was raped. And then after he was killing these, like I said, poor kittens. I'm not a big cat person, but yeah, I still don't condone that, as we all know that I love animals, so it's kind of weird. So also, this guy was huge. He was what, like, I want to say like 6'7". Is that what
he was that tall?
I think he was really tall.
Oh wow! I didn't read anything about it. They talked about his size.
Yeah, he was a huge guy, like very huge guy, like weighing like 220, 230, which I thought was kind of, I mean, for that kind of height, I mean, let's just say that he was, give or take a little bit, maybe not 6'7", maybe 6 something, but he was really tall. And, you know, I can't say heavier set because he didn't really look heavier set until I seen him in like prison. I've watched some interviews with that, but he also in his younger years tried to go ahead and drown a kid in a swimming pool. Weird. So
yeah, he was your classic sociopath.
Well, aren't most serial killers? I mean, honestly, I mean, I'm just asking. I mean, most of them are. I mean, so anyways, we're talking technically. Go ahead.
Yeah, they got their wits together enough to keep it hidden. You know, I mean,
I think this guy did. I feel like Keith Jefferson is who we're talking about, guys. The smiley face killer, and there was a happy face killer, and I know that's a whole different killer. That's what was really kind of striking me as odd because
that guy, I think he killed more of the college students on beaches and stuff.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't really look into that. Yeah, I believe so. That's where I was getting kind of confused, but
yeah, one was over the road, which is the guy we're talking about, and then that guy, he was on college campuses and stuff like that. He killed younger, on beaches and stuff.
I guess I didn't look into that, but when you start Googling it and you're like, oh, okay. But this guy was kind of interesting. Keith Jefferson is who we're talking about, actually. And he decided that, I mean, he had a whole family. He got married. He had 3 children. And he basically lived a double life. And then on top of it, he went ahead and tried out for the police academy. That didn't work because I think he got an injury from what I'm understanding. So he had really no other option besides to be a trucker. Now, we always teach everybody, like, hey, do not get into a car with strangers. Like, we always teach our children that. So
semis are safer.
Are they though? Now it's Uber. Okay, it's like
this guy killed out of his semi. What really kicked him off though is when his wife divorced him.
Well, I think that's what really got him. And because she went to her mom's, from what I'm understanding, and I think that kind of set him off, because I did hear in an interview with him that she was starting to deny him sex, and the woman, Tanya Bennett, the first one that he actually killed, was kind of like, let's get it done and over with. So it triggered him because technically that was his first victim, which I thought was weird because he kind of just dumped her body on the side of the road. But he also cut out the parts of like her jean buttons, so his fingerprints wouldn't be on there.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, those buttons aren't big enough to get a fingerprint on them. Not a good one, at least.
Well, I mean, we're talking about a guy that just committed a crime. Like, he was so enraged, and I don't know if it was just kind of somebody that he picked up at the bar, and she was actually, she was somewhat mentally handicapped from what I'm understanding.
Is that the one are you talking about, the one that he proposed to?
No, that was the girlfriend.
Yeah.
Because there was we're talking about the first one where.
Oh, his first wife.
No. The first victim, Tanya Bennett.
Oh, okay.
Okay. He's the one that, but she actually, they actually met at a bar, and then he brought her back to his place. And then from what I'm understanding is he went ahead and killed her at his house, went back to the bar, and then came back and then disposed of her body and then cleaned up. He said he cleaned up everything that he possibly could. Yeah. And I thought, and then he painted. I don't know how you would paint over that, but I'm sure that there's a way. If there's a will, there's a way. Okay. I'm not a serial killer, and but his victim, and I know I sent this to you, Brett, and I know that we had a little bit of a conversation about this. The next person that he tried to kill, her name was Dawn, and she was actually the one that actually got away, which I did not know until today. She got mad at her husband, so she went to the shopping mall at like 10:30 at night with her baby, who was, I think, 5 months old. Don't quote me on that. So she was mad at her husband, took this baby, and she has this conversation with him. And I heard that he was a very charming person. He was easy to talk to. And she decided she needed to use the bathroom. So she gets in the car with him, with your child, this baby. And he takes her out to a remote area. And I watched this interview with her, and it was really weird to even hear this, that he was trying to strangle her. And every time she felt like she couldn't breathe, she like went into it. And I was like, oh, that's kind of interesting, because her baby fell underneath one of the pedals in his car, or truck. Yes. And he kept pressing that pedal, and the baby kept crying and I thought, oh my gosh, well, she struggled for 2 hours. And I'm thinking to myself, why would you bring your child, get in a car with a stranger? So anyways, she survived this because I think that baby started crying, and I think it started irritating him. Couple minutes back into town, he said, and I quote, never get in a car with strangers. Amazing. So
Wow.
he just said, don't tell anybody about this. And here's where I'm having a really hard time with this, because she got out of that car, ran straight to the police station, told her what happened, told them what happened. She could have prevented a lot of murders at this point.
Well,
Reason
did he,
because they captured him a couple minutes later, but she wouldn't press charges.
What happened to the baby? Is it still stuck at the gas pedal?
I know it's not funny. I shouldn't joke about that.
That's just dumb luck.
But it turns out, this is the weird thing, is the boyfriend that she had at the time killed that baby a couple months later.
Oh, jeez, no.
Yeah, that baby survived that and then ended up being killed by.
Jeez.
But it gets better. She is now in trouble for stabbing her significant other in the rib. But he's gonna live. Okay. The whole thing that surrounds this case is crazy. So then that brings me, and I know that it seems like we're going off topic, but I promise you this is all tying in together. There is an older lady, and she actually studied this case really like in depth. That she like went to the news articles. She was reading everything she could, watched news, reading it. I mean, everything down to a T. Well, what happened is when they were taking pictures, she found out where this was. So she followed the footprints. So she was able to show the cops, because she's like, my boyfriend did it. Okay. Her boyfriend, John, supposedly did it. And she led the cops straight to where this body would have been found, which the body wasn't there anymore. Because Tanya Bennett's body actually was found by a college student when he was taking a drive down the road. Whatever, it does happen. I mean, how many of us don't get in the car because we're having a bad day and we just want to maybe listen to some loud music or just need a minute, right?
Yeah.
So he found that body. Well, she led the police to, oh, this is where this body was. And, my husband or boyfriend, whatever you want to call him, John, was bragging about doing this. Mind you, every time John got into they had a problem, she'd call his parole officer, because I think, if I'm not mistaken, and don't quote me on this, so allegedly, he had so many DUIs that he was on probation. So it really wasn't a violent crime, but she kind of wanted to be away from him. So in all actuality, they get arrested. Now, this irks Keith to its core, because now people are sitting in, prison, basically. And they took plea deals to basically say, well, maybe these, and plus on top of it, he's still going around murdering people. And I can't say people, women. Now, here's where it gets sticky. And I don't want to say this to be mean, but I'm going to say it, okay? We all know that whole expression, and Brett, you know this expression as well as I do. Lot lizards.
Yeah.
Okay. That's what we call them. I have a couple of truckers that are actually on my Facebook page. Don't worry, I know these people, but I don't really think I want to get in a semi with them, because it's probably just gross. I go
to the big gas stations for them and sit down in a chair and pull my meal out, and like to sit and watch them bounce back and forth between trucks.
You do not.
I know.
That makes for a great story, though. Okay, it really does. It makes for... Okay, so I don't know what everybody else calls them when they're basically prostitutes. Let's just face facts. They're called prostitutes. We just happen to say
they know they can make some big bucks for the lonely truckers.
Right. And that's just an expression that we use. That's what we use here. I'm sure a lot of states use that.
My mom's boyfriend's a trucker.
I know a friend, Tim, who is actually a trucker, and we actually make weird memes on Facebook about lot lizards, or he'll joke about it, which I don't know if he's ever really picked any up, but now I'm interested. So now I'm gonna have to send him a message and kind of ask him. But anyway, he was picking these women up at truck stops, and he's claiming that some of them were after his money, and some of them just wanted a ride. But then he starts seeing red, which I find odd. I mean, why would you go across the country and just like, how do you pick out a victim like that? Like, how do you know that that is the person that you want to kill? That's what I was trying to find. Like, what would possess him to pick that particular person?
I think if they knew answers like that, they would be catching serial killers a hell of a lot quicker.
I know.
On how they pick their victim.
Well, okay, but I mean, we could look at a lot of other serial killers and we could say, okay, this is how they decided on their victim. The problem with this guy, Keith, I feel like we could just never pick out the victim that he, like, what random person is he picking out at this point? I mean,
I didn't read. I don't remember if they said that he was picking out women that reminded him of his soon to be ex-wife when they got divorced and she took the kids. Or some serial killers pick out the women that look like mommy. So
I'll keep that in mind. I mean, I
don't know. Yeah, I'm not sure how Epperson was picking up his random kills.
But my thing is I guess to me is when we look back at his childhood, all the classic signs were there. How did not anybody pick up on that?
Well, because his dad was a drunken abuser.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is when he got older, because like I said, his daughter's the one that said she's seen the cats being hung from the clothesline. She remembers that. Okay, so right then and there, that should have been your first indication. There's something wrong
counseling.
With my...
Yeah, you're going to counseling.
Right. But I mean, I'm saying he's like raping these women. He is strangling these women and then just disposing of their bodies like it was nothing. 8 women. So then they're trying to say that supposedly he did 160 murders. And then I did listen to a prison record, or not a record, but a recording. And then there was this guy that was able to actually have like a video chat with him. I'm like, oh, that is so cool. Not that I want to do. Okay, let's just be honest. I would. Okay, I'd be the first person to be like, what serial killer can I have a video chat with? You know me.
Well, at least you're not trying to marry him.
No, I watch a lot of Love After Lockup. That just doesn't seem really appealing.
That's the ones I get a kick out of, is these girls that find out these serial killers, how many they kill. Oh boy, he's my new husband.
No. I'm not trying to do all that.
No,
but I mean, I guess it's just be kind of one of those things. Like I want to know what makes them tick. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I guess to me is the classic signs were there.
I got a book on that, and it talks about how they torture animals. I mean that's like 97% of your serial killers. There's some that don't do that, don't torture animals, but sometimes parents see it, sometimes they don't.
Well, like, okay, but most serial killers that we cover topics they are obviously killing animals.
Yeah, no, I'm not denying that. I'm just saying that they do it,
because
like Jeffrey Dahmer. I mean, his dad knew he killed animals, but he also thought he was probably practicing to be a taxidermist.
Yeah, but his dad encouraged that behavior. I don't think.
Yeah, he taught his son how to stuff an animal. Yeah, but I'm just saying, Jeffrey Dahmer did it for thrills because his dad just figured he was.
Oh, don't bring Dahmer into
taxidermist. This. So, but
I know, but I just don't. But I'm fascinated with Dahmer. I'll be the first one to admit this. You all know this. I am fascinated with Dahmer. Something about him, the way that he ticks, that was fine. This guy, on the other hand, I will say it's when he found out, and might tell you how he got the happy face killer thing. He was signing, since we have people now that are in jail for this crime that was committed, and he's still out killing, right? Well, he's writing notes on the bathroom stalls.
Yeah, and he was writing notes to the police station because somebody got the fame from his first kill,
and
they arrested the wrong people, and he wrote a letter to the police. Well, actually, the bathroom wall, and then a letter to the police saying they didn't do it, I did.
Yeah, and then he
would tag it with a smiley face.
Mm-hmm. So this journalist, Phil, and I cannot remember his last name, actually gave him that nickname. And he seems to be proud of it. And like I said, we could go through every single one of his victims, to be honest with you. But at the same time, we'd be here for hours discussing how they were killed. And we all, at the end of the day, we do know that he was dumping their bodies. But the states were California, Florida, Nebraska, Oregon, Washington, and Wyoming is where they're finding all these bodies. But when these two people claim that they were they killed his first victim, he just wasn't happy. Like, oh, well, they're getting all this press. Why am I not getting all this press? Okay.
Just like the Zodiac killer. He sent messages to the police station on all his kills. They just couldn't decipher the cipher.
I mean, like I said, this guy, he was so ticked off. So the last kill that he had, he was engaged. And that just seemed to go, I can't remember off the top of my head how long he was engaged for. But
yeah, I'm not even sure about that.
He ended up killing her. Now, here's the thing. They also said that he also did say in an interview, and this is why it kind of ties into this. He said, basically, this was a lot easier for me to kill these women and just dump their bodies, because he said that when it comes to deaths like this, they usually look at the boyfriend and the family first. So by that time, he's days down the road. So, wow. If you really think about it, he really had that down. Like, who would have thought about that? Who would have said, well, I'm a couple days down the road. So by the time, they find this body and, whatever, I don't know. Yeah. He did have a logic to it. And I will say in that aspect, and I hate to say this, he was a lot smarter than we give him credit for. At the end of the day, his dad didn't even think he'd go to college. We're talking about a guy that never went to his high school, really was just unsuccessful with women. And that could be it too. If he was very unsuccessful with women, that could trigger something in him. It's not like he was this great looking dude.
Well,
if you look at pictures of him,
he didn't have a hard time getting a girlfriend. Because he met that waitress right after his wife left him.
Well, here's the thing. Right. But he didn't kill her.
No.
But that was a very unsuccessful relationship. And if you really, like I said, when I watched what he had to say, and I quote, he said, well, it's because she started denying me sex. And I'm like, if this is just coming down to sex, just hire, you're picking up people at, the truck stops. Go ahead. Dish out some money.
Just go to the strip joints.
Yeah, exactly. You know what I mean? You didn't have to kill them. So I'm wondering because if you really think about it, he was raping them. So
yeah,
could it stem from the fact that some and some are just there for the thrill, but strangulation was his thing as well. I wonder if they would have given him a different name. I don't know. But I will say the smiley face thing, he said it was just something that I did. He goes, I didn't think about it. But why are you going to write it on a bathroom wall? Who's going to see that except for other truckers?
Well, we
This
always,
is in
whenever you go
1-800
to a,
Keith Jefferson.
whenever you go to a men's restroom, we always got, our teaching literature on the walls.
So should I start bringing Sharpies into the bathroom and like public restrooms and like I was here?
I've always wondered that too. On top of it, what do they do? They bring knives in and carve it into the damn tent.
Well, that's the thing I don't understand. Like, I mean, how many people are gonna like say, okay, they're gonna really take that seriously now because you're writing it at the bathroom walls. So he obviously wasn't getting the attention he wanted. So he's like, I'm just going to start writing letters because that's just what I'm going to do. Okay. So then he's engaged, and he kills her. Yeah. Now he took that whole theory about, they're not going to catch me right away because, I'm not their boyfriend. Well, in this case, this was your fiance. You were going to get married. So now you are connected to this murder. So they interviewed him for 6 hours and they kind of like let him go. It's like, So then he calls him. I did it. Me, Keith Jefferson, I did it. Why didn't you just confess when you were there? Like, and he was like, I was the one that killed all these 8 people. And I thought, what about the lady that got away? She could have, honest to godly, prevented so many people murdered if she would have just pressed charges. And I guess when she wanted to press charges, they're like, it's too late. We let him go.
Yeah. I don't know.
But how convenient is that, honestly, to be a serial killer, right, as a truck driver?
There's a few truck drivers that are serial killers. I can't think of all their names right now though, but there's a few of them, and they all picked on your lot lizards.
All right, but think about this. Arlene Wuornos.
Huh?
Arlene Wuornos, okay? She actually was a hitchhiker, right? She was just
doing
the same thing to men.
What was the name? I forgot the name of her partner.
I don't know. Don't ask me right this second.
Yeah, she had a partner / lover.
Yeah.
I can't think of her name, but she killed guys.
But if you think about it, it took her a little bit of time to, be killed, and she was a hitchhiker, right?
Yeah.
I mean, what would be the odds if like Lorraine Wuornos and like Keith Jefferson met up with each other?
Oh, geez. Be a lot of deaths.
You know what I mean? Like, think about it.
Yeah, she could act like a lot lizard, pile into a damn truck, kill a guy while her boyfriend or husband is picking up the lot lizard female and killing her. Yeah,
but
they have double murders every truck stop.
But like I said, to me, it's bizarre. He's, instead of just letting somebody else like fall down for your crime, he probably would have never been caught for a while longer than, because he waited so long in between. And like I said, I know his daughter, she does a really cool TV show where she actually gets a hold of like the victims' families. I will give her that. She's very an active role in that. To this day, she can't figure out why. She bluntly said that if her dad was still out of prison, he'd probably still be killing people. But that is a typical serial killer thing. All right, if Jeffrey Dahmer was still out, he'd probably still be killing boys.
Well, yeah, he's got to get his meat from somewhere.
Well, right, exactly. That's what I'm saying. If you look at it, but I guess to me is fine. Like, why would you call and confess? Like, let it go. I know that sounds really horrible to say. No, it really does.
It's because they think they're smarter than everybody else. Is why.
Yeah, but how is he going to get out of that? You know what I mean? Like, you've already confessed to it.
Yeah, I know. Good question. It's like you dumbass. Well, I mean, like next week when we do this deal, I want to bring up Dennis Rader, the BTK killer. He never would have been caught, but he caught some link where somebody caught his crime, and he went right back to doing it after something like 15 damn years. I'd have to read on it and look it back up. I don't remember exactly how long it was, but just yeah. And for some reason he wanted to act like he was smarter than all the police. And
Okay,
this.
But I guess hear me out, okay? So obviously we know that his wife, because obviously he was married like one time, right? She knew all these women were calling the house, right? She knew this. That's really why she up and left him.
Yeah.
But she didn't have any inkling when when your child comes home and says, "Hey, by the way, my dad was killing cats in the backyard." And I seen it. What is that about? I mean, I would race out of people like, oh, I would like, it's a kitten. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
What the heck? I mean, like I said, I think in a way she probably kind of hit her head in the sand. Like, oh, screw this. Okay, but you're gonna tell me that if he was like the next girlfriend, she didn't notice any odd behavior? Because I get that there's two sides to him. Obviously, the family man, because he's like, I guess he was a really doting father. He was a great father, according to what I was understanding.
Yeah.
And then he lives a whole life where I'm out killing.
Yeah.
How does that work? Like, because somebody asked him, like, how do you sleep at night? He goes, perfectly fine. How do you sleep at night? If I killed somebody, I even have a bad dream. I'm up in the middle of the night. I'm like, oh, please tell me that was fake. You know what I mean? Because I was watching something last night on him, and I was having the weirdest dream, and I was like, I got up and I was like, okay, I didn't kill anybody. Not today. No, I would never. I never would. But honestly, because since I've been reading on this, I'm like, if I was the serial killer, which I'm not, by the way, I wonder what my killer name would be, because Reeni is not that's not even a cool name to even, not even Allegedly Reeni. That wouldn't even be a cool serial killer. That's the kind of weirdness when I'm watching TV shows like this. And so he got, I don't know, that's just me. But like I said, the whole case, I think, that surrounds this thing, and then a victim that was able to escape. And then we have two people that she just wanted away from her husband. So she was like, yeah, I did it. But I did hear that it took them a while to get out of prison. After she blamed her husband, the couple that, said that they're the ones that killed Bennett. I
think they got charged with it too, didn't they?
They did get charged. They did, and they spent some time in prison, but they did a plea deal, so they didn't actually get the death penalty. Because if I'm not mistaken,
come find out they didn't even do it.
No, but here's the thing. They're not even victims of this in the first place anyways either, because of what they did. They think that they have now this killer behind bars, but in all actuality, they're really hindered a lot of, a case, if you really think about it, because they did find on Bennett a piece of hair, but not a hair follicle. So they couldn't, but if he's not even in this, well, actually, now that I think about this, if he was trying out for the police academy, right? And maybe you can answer this for me better. And one thing, you have to have some kind of fingerprints or something like that. So if they had a piece of hair, do they actually have to have a hair follicle to be like, oh, this person may be in the system? Because I would assume that you would have to get fingerprinted.
I want to say, you have to have the hair follicle.
Oh, you do? You probably do.
I'm pretty sure you do. I'm not a chemist, but I don't know for sure. But I'm pretty sure you do have to have the hair follicle. Because that's one of the things that out of a hair follicle, also you can find out what drugs a person used for a year, for up to 1 year. You know, then so if you smoke acid in February, come October, if you have a hair follicle test, it'll show that.
Oh, okay. See, I don't really know how hair follicles work, and that's what I'm saying. Because if he was already in the system, okay, but we
Well,
already,
yeah,
like I said, the first victim that was able to get away, Dawn. I really do think that she could have stopped a lot of this because I think he would have stayed in. Because I mean, that was technically battery. I mean, he could have killed her. I mean, he could have killed her baby. And that poor
yeah,
baby is, gone now but now she's charged. I mean, the whole thing, because like I said, I watched an interview with her and I didn't even know that something like that even existed. Like a victim got away. But to sit there and say, you shouldn't get into a car with strangers. A serial killer tells you that, like, don't get in the car with strangers. But like I said, now we live in a world of like Uber. I mean, we had
yeah, I
taxis,
know.
you know what I mean? But it's like, we can call an Uber. We're going to get into a car with a stranger.
No different than you getting into a taxi.
Yeah, I think I took a taxi like one time, and it freaks me out because I don't like getting in car with strangers. And I will say this,
they're
I do.
expensive as hell.
Oh no, well, it was because I was going to a concert, and then like Matt was like, "Oh, well, you can just walk." I was like, to cross the interstate, and this is Chicago, by the way. Because we went to go see Eamon and Marth, and I was like, oh, we're not going to do that. But now, I mean, you encourage people to get in Ubers with people you don't know. But I mean, I guess you could track that, you know what I mean? But now, from what I'm understanding, is these semis have like tracking systems in their car or in their trucks. They have cameras in their trucks. I mean, so it's not something that you could just, well, I guess you could hop in there because they do have that like thing in there.
Yeah.
That
I know they can track
thing.
them. I didn't know they had cameras in them.
Some of them do. I don't know if it's like the cross country ones because he was a cross country trucker, and I shouldn't know this.
He
Not
was.
that I'm spending any time at the like truck stops, guys. I just want to.
I
Okay,
think you're
now
right.
that
I think
sounds
he
kind of
was
like,
cross
oh, like,
country.
yeah, because he was from Canada.
Yeah. Well, yeah, he was
Mm-hmm.
born in Canada, I believe, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was. And so when his
Because
family
that's what he
moved,
wanted to be. He wanted to be one of the Canadian country Mounties or whatever, wear the really
mm-hmm.
cool looking uniform and all that. But
I don't know. I mean,
I don't either. Rhode Island wears the same thing.
what do you mean?
The Rhode Island police.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that. I mean, like,
Yeah.
because I know what our police don't even get on duty until 4:30, and I know what they do. Chase me around town. It does happen, guys. It does happen.
Yeah, but Rhode Island's got the uniforms like the Canadians.
Oh, I didn't know that. Are they with the little hats too?
Yep,
because I know that, or was that the
big
sheriff's
brim
department?
and the little top button.
Well, I know the sheriff's department around here has those too, but I'm just saying, like, was just kind of a little, I don't know. I can't really imagine. I mean, but if you think about it, it's a good way to be I'm not saying that you should be a serial killer. Anybody, just please do not be a serial killer, because we don't want to have a discussion about you on this show.
You want to see their uniforms? Watch that Jim Carrey movie, Me, Myself, and Irene. Because that's what Jim Carrey played a Rhode Island cop. Had that uniform.
Yeah, but here's the thing. There is a movie on Lifetime, and you guys know I'm a huge Lifetime movie person. That's just me. Usually this is what I would be doing on Sundays, watching Lifetime movies. But there is a movie on the Happy Face Killer. David Arquette plays that. The Keith. I don't think they did a great job with that one. I would suggest, if anybody really, really wants to dig into the case, is probably go to YouTube. Because that's really where I got my information, to be honest with you. And like I said, that was where I got the information about a victim that actually did survive, Keith. And Keith is still alive. I believe he is in Washington State. Please do not write him
Oregon.
Well, I can't tell you. Oregon, right. Sorry, Oregon. Don't write him. Okay, because I did hear that he was writing a newscaster asking her to be his Valentine. This is what I'm talking about. This is like, what is she, the next victim? You know what I mean? I mean, not from prison, because he's serving 3 life sentences. I mean,
something like that. Yeah, he's never getting out.
No, but see, I never really understood that. Like, how do you say, like, you're gonna get 3 life sentences? I only have 1 life. Okay, so if I come back in my next lifetime, am I still sitting in that jail cell? Is that how that works? Because never really.
Yeah,
I know.
I find it ridiculous. I find it ridiculous, like you do. If you're gonna end up getting life, instead of saying 3 life sentences, just say, you got life. Your ass ain't getting out. We're even going to bury you so we know exactly where you are.
Yeah, but also, here's my thing. If you're going to be serving a life sentence, and I will be the first one to admit, and I know that I'm going to get a lot of backlash for this, and I don't really care, and it's just my belief, and it's my belief. Everybody's got their own beliefs. I believe in the death penalty. Okay? If you're going to sit there and lie if you're going to spend life in prison, well, a little shot, little electrotherapy ain't gonna kill you. Well, it's gonna kill you, but you know what I mean?
Yeah, like, it makes a lot more sense than having to use taxpayer money to keep them alive.
Well, not only that, but I mean, think about it. They have 3 square meals a day.
Clean laundry.
I mean, think about the way things are going in our world today. I mean, we need to worry about our children that are not committing crimes, because I know that you and I have had conversations where, like, we should talk about children killers, and I'm like, oof, that is a touchy one there. And there's a lot actually than most people think. But I know that we only got like a couple minutes left. So, well, like, I don't know. I can't do math, guys. That's not my strong thing. Okay. So I want Brett to tell us what we are doing next week, next Sunday.
Do me tell now?
Yeah.
Yeah. We're gonna do Dennis Rader, the BTK killer, and I can't remember the Green River, Gary something, the Green River killer, but we're doing them because we want to talk about how they have such a long cooling off period. Like Dennis Rader, they're perfect. They killed one day, and then they didn't kill for 10, 15 years later. Usually they have the cooling off periods is like within a few months, up maybe up to a year. But they're one of the 2 of the very rare that has a cooling off period that was greater than 10 to 15 years.
That is some cases that I have not looked into. I will tell you that those I'm pretty excited about those, because they're not something that I would have looked into or whatever, because I know that I was looking into the Zodiac killers.
Yeah,
the Zodiac killer.
He completely got away with it.
Yeah, I know, but
yeah, and he even had a victim that escaped him. Didn't he have one to get it in his car, and he was driving? And he tried to do something to restrain her from doing something, and she actually ended up. He pulled over to this other side of the road into an alley or whatever, and got out, and she ended up getting away.
Okay, but my question is, why people be getting in the car with like strangers or
people did that shit all the time back in the 60s.
Well, here's the weird thing. I remember, and this was many, many years ago, and I mean many, many moons ago. Matt and I were shopping, and we were coming home, and there was this lady walking, and he's like, I'm gonna pull over and I'm gonna see if she wants a ride. I'm like, okay. And when she kills us, because at this point we had
exactly
probably like our daughter was like 3 at the time, and I was like, the only thing though, she's like, I only live up the road. I'm like, where up the road? Like, now I'm curious, like, where up the road? She's like, over that hill. Where over that hill? Because there's only 3 houses over that hill. Tell me which one, the first, second, or third. Like, you know what I mean? Yeah. And she just kind of have a conversation. I'm thinking, I'm going to unbuckle my seatbelt, roll my window down a little bit, because if he's going to kill Matt, if she's going to kill Matt, like, I'm getting away. Like, that's on him. Like, I'm not going to. I know that sounds crazy.
My cousin did that shit one time on me when I was riding with him in Southern Illinois, and we had a truck, and he let them get in the bed of the truck, and drove them to the end of the next highway or whatever, and they got out. I looked at Calvin, I go, man, you're a damn idiot for doing that. I was like, what the hell, man? You want us to die? Oh, they were like, bullshit, man. There's a couple killers out there too.
Well, now they have, what is it? Is it like something that the app that you can have on your phone? I have it with my daughter, so I can definitely tell where she's at, and she could tell where I'm at. She's like, "Are you at Starbucks?" And I'm like, "No, I'm getting in a car with a stranger." Of course I'm at Starbucks. And then I'm going to Target. I don't know. But no, I know that those two cases is something that you were really interested in, and I'll have to look into that. And I know we tried to cover so much of Keith, and it's something that we wanted to talk about. And definitely don't get in a car with strangers, like, at all. Walk.
Yeah.
I mean, okay, don't walk. But like I said, we've always told our children, don't get in the car with strangers. But here's the number to Uber.
If you're going to get into a car with a stranger, take a picture of the license plate and immediately send it to a relative.
Yeah, and don't get into a truck don't get into a, trucker's car. You know what I mean? Or truck. Not car. Truck. I mean, because like I said, you made rig. I don't know the proper terms. But you just never know, because like I said, I'm still trying to figure out when I figure out why he killed, I'm going to know, because I have really considered, I shouldn't say this, but maybe just sending him an email, because you technically can send emails, but it costs you money.
It does?
But when you send a prisoner emails, it does cost
prisoner.
money.
Okay, I was going to say,
who else am I going to write a letter to? Who am I going to send an email to?
I didn't know that if you wanted to send an email to a prisoner that it cost you anyway. That's new to me.
It's like called Connect something. And I shouldn't know this. And I'm not going to go into why I know this for personal reasons. I was not there. Okay.
Yeah.
But it doesn't matter. But yes, you can. And it costs you $2, I believe. And if I can remember correctly, when they send you a message
response,
if you don't have enough money in your account, you have to actually put in your credit card information. It's like a calling card type thing. And it's actually true. I wouldn't suggest it, because honestly, you can only type so much. But again, we're not going to get into that situation on how I know that. That is a story for a different day. And no, I wasn't just writing any random prisoners. Okay, if that's what you guys think. So we will be back next Sunday. Brett and I will be. Yay, us.
Yep.
And you guys, right after this, there is Legit Paranormal. That is actually a really cool show. So if you guys want to all stay, and in a couple minutes, it'll be starting. So thank you for letting us kind of kick off the show. So yeah, you'll see us again next Sunday.
Week. Same bat time, same bat channel.
Yes, exactly. So we will talk to you guys next week. Thank you.
Bye.